Okay, welcome to our live, everyone. I hope that a couple of you will pop in there soon, and we might have a couple of special guests that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for as we go along. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a live. We've kind of been going a little bit more, it's only every few weeks we'll have it now, simply because that way we can make sure when we do talk with you, we have got something really special or something that's happening specifically. So this week is very exciting. It's all about the culmination of our Galway Blanket project. I will show you the finished blanket and all the different squares. We're going to have a raffle for the prize to actually win the blanket. And we're also going to welcome on Blathnaid Gallagher, who is from the Galway Wool Co-Op, and she may even possibly be in her sheep pen. I think there was a promise of a sheep pen in there. So I might actually, to make sure we do not miss her, I might see if I can get hold of Blathnaid and, I'm not sure. Blathnaid, I'll actually leave it with you so that you can actually just pop on a request to join if you want there, and then I can make sure that you can jump in. I don't do an awful lot where I'm doing it in conjunction with someone, and can sometimes be a little bit tricky getting the whole technical end of it to work, but I'm sure we will eventually. But yeah, Blathnaid, if you're on there, you can just pop the request to join, and I will. I can basically then just approve it and bring you on when we come in. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit more about the Galway Blanket project and what we have been working on so far. Because of course, anyone who has come along originally, it was in conjunction with Galway Wool Co-Op, and I'm just keeping an eye here. There's been a couple of requests to join. It's been in conjunction with the Galway Wool Co-Op, which produce the Galway wool breed specific in Ireland, which is a heritage yarn, and it is a beautiful one to work with. It was dying off, and the Galway Co-op has actually really helped reinvigorate the Galway wool. They had they had a lovely meeting up last Saturday that I'm sure Blathnaid will tell us all about when she's on, which is their Meitheal, and they have a lot of the farmers meet up. They had a whole host of other people who were doing displays of different things that, there was, if I remember correctly, there was some rugs, and there was also several finished projects in the Galway wool, so people can see it put to good use in the end. This particular project was in conjunction with the Jigsaw, Jigsaw Youth Mental Health in Ireland, and a portion of every single club that was sold went to the Jigsaw Club and also to the Jigsaw Mental Health. And then the final blanket we are raffling off today. All of the raffle tickets are actually going to go, specifically go to Jigsaw. So I am going to announce the actual total we have. It's 1,540 was collected in raffle tickets that is going to go to Jigsaw, and this is in addition to what we've actually in addition to what has been collected already, and so it's 3,400 is the total contribution we've made to them, which is incredible. So I really want to thank everybody that allowed us to do that. And I think I see the Galway blanket there, and we're going to popping up on the screen with me there, and we'll see if her promise of a sheep is going to come true. Didn't see it come up there. I did accept the request. There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we all?
I'm good.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear
sound
you
okay?
Perfectly. Yes. Are you able to hear
Oh, good.
me?
Yeah. So we're in here with the girls, boys. We have boys with us today. Everybody, welcome and hello from the Galway Wool Co-op. And just behind me here we have the stars of the sheep. These are the beautiful sheep which Carl has very kindly agreed to cooperate with us and to collaborate with us so that these are no longer on the endangered or extinct list. And yeah, we've had some great interest, and Thanks very much, Carl, and thanks very much to the Blanket Club, and especially for all the funds that were raised for Jigsaw. I think that's just amazing. So just to tell some of the followers that are on your live today, we represent a cooperative of farmers that produce wool from the native sheep breed here in Ireland, which is called a Galway. And I'll just introduce you to a Billy, which is what we call the boys. Hello, Billy.
Do these have names, Blathnaid?
So they're white. I know, I'm still giving them names, but sure, it's hard not to. You can see them, they're quite docile. Anybody that's familiar with sheep that'll be coming from a farming background would know that it's unusual to be able to get into a shed without sheep going running in all directions. But these guys are really, really docile. Yeah. And that's partially to do with the fact that they're heritage. The breeds to become quite docile, which is a lovely thing if you're somebody like me and you're starting off into farming. You want to work with a breed that's very friendly and very lovable. They're all here looking for their cuddles. So the wool itself is very white. It was originally known as bawneen, so it's wonderful that the stitches that you're using are coming from the traditional Aran stitch, Carl. Thank you very much for that, because the women in Ireland would have used the lowland sheep breed, which has now become known as the Galway, as their primary source of raw material for wool for these beautiful Aran sweaters. Nowadays we tend to opt for softer type wool. Oh, I just lost my backdrop. That's the beauty of live. But nowadays we tend to go for softer microns, and it's meant that a lot of the sheep here in Ireland, and especially the lowland sheep breeds, are only predominantly being used for meat. So we're thrilled. We're absolutely over the moon. Words don't describe, Carl, what has happened.
Yeah. Do you want to tell people about the Meitheal that you had last weekend? I started a little bit, but I was so sorry to have missed it, but it was an incredible coming together of, I suppose, both creatives and the sheep breeders themselves. So if you want to tell us a small bit about that, it'd be wonderful.
Sure. So it was very unusual. I suppose in a protest, really, about 3 years ago, these farmers started to come together and remove the traditional route to market for Irish wool is into the waste category. It's a category 3 waste product here in Ireland, and from there then it goes over to Bradford, and it's sent from Bradford mainly out to the Asian carpet markets. So very little of it is actually being made available for craft and as a medium for art. So we decided this year the last 3 years we've withdrawn the traditional route and we bring it to one location. For the last 2 years, Donegal Yarns have been very, very, very supportive, and they're the only company here in Ireland that are actually milling wool from the co-op. So it's wonderful that they're actually supporting the initiative that the farmers are making. So then this year we decided to change it a little, and we exhibited the work. And Niamh O'Connell from County Wexford produced an amazing exhibition of interior products that were crafted from Galway.
The rugs were beautiful. It was her that produced the rugs. They're really stunning because, of course, it's just the wool is so rich.
It was, but she actually produced tapestries, and it was her cover. She had an actual cushion covers, and she had an amazing art display. I actually thought it was a Ganzi, which was actually available for sale, but it was a creation that she used to tell a story about moths, and they're a really important part in the whole biodiversity, the circularity, and how important they are as pollinators in the world. So she incorporated nature and nurture, which is something that we at the Galway Co-op are all about. So the men met, and the women, they brought their wool, they loaded it, they inspected it, and they made it available for the first of its kind research study that's going to be done this year, where we're going to trace wool right from the Irish soil to the wool and into the garments and into the products and the tapestries and the rugs. And anytime you actually want to know if it's a real Irish wool or a real product made from Irish raw material, moving forward, we'll actually be able to trace it through using really technical science research sponsored by Enterprise Ireland. So it's a new venture for us, and we hope it's one that your followers and all of the crafters that have supported the Blanket Club will be able to avail of moving forward.
And I mean, it does, it's like, I think people are getting more and more aware of both sustainability and also traceability, so that you know where things come from, and that you've got the ability then to make very informed decisions about what you're getting, and you know whether it's going to work for you and where it came from and who you're supporting with it as you go through. So yeah, there's transparency is wonderful to be able to see that whole process. So I'm curious, actually, and Mel, is the actual wool for sale there as well, or is it being bought just by mills or by crafters, or was it just purely exhibition there?
Well, it was that, no, we don't. We only sell wool in the grease, and we're totally reliant on collaborations with yourself and other people that might have an interest in, you know, sustainable interiors. Yeah. Because I'm glad that you did, and you've always been very honest with people in the club that this is not a cashmere and it's not a merino. It's a deep, rich cream heritage wool that's rustic. And I suppose the unique part of it is the stitch definition, which you've highlighted time and time again, Carl. And we really thank you for being so honest with people about that. It's a rustic wool.
When they were knitting with it, they were saying just the stitches pop right out. And Laura here in the office was talking about the fact that when you knit with, we had two different projects on the go. One of them was a softer wool, and both of them we were doing cables. With the other one, you had to be very, very careful when you blocked it. When it got wet, it tended to kind of go a little flat, so you really had to mind it when wet. You could put a steamroller over the Galway and the cables will still pop out.
Yeah, oh, that's brilliant. You're delighted with that. And I suppose that's a lot to do with the fact that the wool itself is coming from the Northern Hemisphere. So the sheep produce a lot of lanolin, and it's that lanolin that generally makes the wool quite soft. But when we put it to a process, which we have to do to spin it into yarn, sadly we remove, through industrial processing, we remove a lot of that lanolin, and that's what leaves it that it's strong. It's all.
Yeah.
The fact that you chose a blanket, and the fact that the blanket doesn't have to be worn next.
Yeah. You've broken up a little bit for me there, Blathnaid. It's kind of cutting in and out.
Farmer-led cooperative. I just happen to be the mouthpiece. Say again?
You're back again. You had broken up for a second there, but you seem to have come back to us again.
I said it's great for me to be able to talk, but I mean, this is a farmer-led initiative. This is actually taking yarn from Irish soil. You know, it's producing it in a product that grows in an animal that grows here in Ireland. And it's what it's doing for rural economies, Carl, and for people living in the countryside that are sheep farmers. It's giving them hope. It's giving them pride. It's giving them a renewed interest in the actual production of wool. And you know, we all work together on collaborations like this. It's really unique, and it's almost euphoric. The excitement that's been caused with the wool blanket and the club and the participants and the reach and where they came from and who got involved and how absolutely brilliantly the whole project was run. And you know, the farmers, more than myself, we're not crafters. We work with animals. We produce the best quality product that we can, and to see your club members support us the way they did it's actually been quite emotional, Carl. So thank you all very, very much for everything that you've done to support this initiative.
We were very, because we approached the whole project to support what you were doing, to actually start working with the native sheep, and we didn't have, our expectation wasn't that it was going to be a runaway success. It was very much a different, it was a different reasons we were going into the whole project. And the fact that it really resonated with people and had so much popularity it was wonderful. It was obviously exactly what our knitters were looking for. You know, it was just spot on what they wanted. I will show people the blanket now, because I haven't been on a live showing people the full blanket since it's finished.
Oh, brilliant.
So this is the full blanket that has been that's been finished off by, the squares were knit by me, Laura and Emer, and I seamed them together. And so this is all handled by us, so to speak. And this is what the winner is going to get. This is the lap size blanket. It's got 12 squares, and there is also a throw size blanket which would have 20 squares if somebody was knitting through that. as there's 12 different ones for the larger size, somebody would just be repeating particular squares, which is the really interesting part for knitters right now who are working through it, because they're supporting each other in terms of the actual the squares they're knitting, figuring out what works, how they like to put the combinations together and things like that. So that particular part now is actually, we're at the fun part where it's all coming together. We have got another delivery, our final delivery for the year of Galway wool, and I think we're down to about the last 4 or 5 kg. So there is enough for a few more blankets left up on the website if people are looking for it. Or if somebody would rather have just the digital and you just want the videos and the access to KnitHub and the patterns, we've also added a digital version of the blanket as well now. I feel the need to stop talking here because I'm mesmerized by just all of these sheep on the other side of the picture there. Blathnaid has transformed into a shed full of sheep.
I'm back. I just want to show you the wool, Carol, just so some of the listeners can actually see. This is lamb's wool, so we'll just try and catch him there now if we can. Just yeah, Billy, come on, Billy. The head. Yeah, now we have it. Okay, so this is lamb's wool. So you can actually see that this is how white it is, and you can see this guy is only a couple of months old, so the staple is actually already starting to grow to about 2 inches. So that's basically the length of the staple already. So it is. We'll let him go now. So it is a wool that had in the past had a lot finer micron, and it would have been a lot easier to wear in the past. But if we keep getting continued support from yourselves, from the knitters, well, then we can actually encourage these farmers to start breeding specifically for a softer wool, so that this wool can eventually go back into traditional iron knitwear. And that's where the Blanket Club comes in. You know, it just means that the product is actually going somewhere. It's all very well organised in the Meitheal and having all the farmers come together and everybody interested, but product and getting it into product and getting people to actually feel it in their hands once again. That's the joy of actually being involved in the project.
We want to take it away from being something that people think of as a waste product and have it being a valuable part of what the sheep process is. And that's something, as the knitter, it would never have occurred to me before, that you think of sheep breeds as being fixed, that, you know, a Merino is this, Blueface Leicester is this. But of course, because you're coming at it from a farming perspective, it's in flux, that each one you can have specific qualities that can, you know, be improved with each new herd that's coming through. So that, I mean, it makes total sense, but as a non-farmer, it doesn't click with you until you think about it, you know?
But it's like me with the stitches. I didn't realise how complicated it all was when I see the craft and I see the detail, and I follow you on Instagram and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, wow, there's so much into it. And it's made it for me, and I think for people in general, as there's more interest in the iron sweater, that we're starting to realise the amount of work and passion and time that the knitters put into it. I know I know everybody that's doing it loves it, but it still needs to be greatly appreciated, the time and the work and the effort that goes into it.
Exactly. Yeah. And people do forget that it's, you know, it's
in the project, and really looking forward to seeing who the winner is.
So are we. I'm going to, hopefully Laura is coming down. She was going to come up and do a little shake. We have over 300 tickets sold. So we've got, we're going to have a decent amount of tickets that we can try. And we're going to announce it here. And then also, if anybody is going to go on, if anyone who's on our newsletter, we'll make sure to pop it in there as well if you're not on here live. So I can hear Laura approaching. So we're going to go and actually do our, Laura, we got our tickets. It's Laura. So,
we can shake it.
All of the tickets ready to go. Do a swizzle. All right. Let's dig further down. Let's dig further down. Here we go. Is everyone ready? All right. Laura, who do we have?
Ryan Koenig. Yay!
Oh, I actually know Ryan Koenig. In fact, I think
is it Ryan
too,
or YAN?
No way.
Yes.
Yeah, I know too. He's a knitter in Dublin. He's based from California originally. Am I right?
Ryan, if you're watching, you have won.
Wow. Wow, that's brilliant.
And he was up last Saturday. I've in fact, yeah, that is really funny because I know I've been watching his posts on Instagram, and I know that he was up with you on Saturday. Isn't that right?
He was. Yeah, he actually he put together a beautiful child's Aran sweater. And it was just overwhelming, the reaction that there actually was too. It was very hard to pick a winner. Thankfully, I wasn't involved in the judging panel, but it was very hard to pick a winner. The standard of craftsmanship involved in the exhibit was absolutely amazing. But Ryan has been very passionate about the Aran stitch and all of the stitches that are in the Aran. So, I mean, it's just fantastic. He well earned, because he's just been a terrific guy with promoting and sharing his knowledge with people. So that's amazing. Brilliant.
It'll be going to someone that is going to really appreciate having an Aran blanket in their house.
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, I see Niamh O'Connell is on there. Niamh is actually the lady who won the exhibition with her exhibit. So she's been very, very supportive. Yeah, she's been very supportive of the Galway Wool Co-op, and she really gets the need to support the indigenous breed and the farmers who actually have gone out of their way to hold on to this almost extinct breed. So thank you, Niamh, if you can hear us there. Thank you so much, and the exhibit and the prize and everything that you won was very well earned.
So are you already planning for next year? Do you think you'll end up doing an exhibition again, or are you kind of waiting to see?
Well, I think it's a given, the energy that it created, and for the farmers to actually see that the wool isn't just going into bags and being brought off in a truck, but it's actually going full circle. I think actually some of the farmers, which was wonderful, they actually bought some of the exhibits. Oh. I know I bought a piece myself there as well. And, you know, if people are going to go to the effort, this wool isn't cheap. We all know the difference in the prices between synthetics and natural fibres. And, you know, we have to just reward the work that goes into it. It has to be full circle. And that's very important. And yeah, so the answer to that question is yes, please God, we have a buyer next year. We'll have a medal, and if we have a medal, please God, we'll have an exhibition. So that would be wonderful. Thanks for asking, Karen.
I am already looking forward to it, and I do hope to make it next year. I was disappointed to just not be up for it last weekend. It was probably just as well because I had been recovering from a cold that I couldn't shake, and I know that if I had travelled up to Galway and down in the day, that I'd have been kicked back probably for a couple of more weeks in terms of actually getting better. So I was sensible for once.
That's good. That's good. That was my husband telling the sheep that they're not really part of the set. They jumped up there on the hay beside us to try and get in front of the camera. So
is your husband behind again holding the stand?
Yes.
Do you want to come out and say hello to us, or would you prefer not to be?
No, you can't say hello to the girls. Come on. They're from all over the world.
Okay.
These are the
Hi folks. Hi, how are you doing?
It's the man behind blonde is there. You're literally
I'm trying to keep the sign here standard and staying up, but every time I try it, the sheep get behind it to knock it down. So you know.
The sheep just have a life of their own.
So
they
just behind every good woman, there's a good man. Okay, remember that.
Well, thank you very much, Blathnaid. I so appreciate the effort you go to on every level. You are just as Deirdre McQuillan actually said, it's like you could probably run the country. You've got like just so much power and motivation behind you. So it's a pleasure having you on here.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you for joining me today. It was extra fun.